Always wonderful conversations happening on Catholic radio. Right now, it's time for a chat with Pat.
Yes, and today we have with us Haley McNamara. She is the Executive Director and Chief Strategy Officer at the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. She leads joint campaigns within areas of legislation, litigation, corporate advocacy regarding a full web of sexual exploitation issues. I mean, her bio is just amazing. Welcome, Haley. How are you today?
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Oh, well, this is great. I was not familiar with your organization, so I was really happy to be able to read through a lot of this stuff. But can you briefly describe what your organization does for our audience?
Yes, so our goal is to prevent sexual abuse and exploitation at mass scale, which means that we are doing corporate advocacy, trying to get companies to stop profiting or normalizing exploitation. We do public policy at the federal and state level, and we also do civil litigation, holding companies like Pornhub and Twitter, suing them when they promote or profit from exploitation.
Well, one of the things that I noticed that was sent to me was this Dirty Dozen list. It was the 2026 Dirty Dozen list. Can you and you've been doing this, since 2013, putting out this list? How do you kind of decide who goes on it, who's on it? Because some of the things for this year I'm looking at, I'm going, ooh, I use Amazon, so I don't use a lot of the things that are listed on here, but I do use that. So can you kind of give us a clue as to how do you figure out these corporations and organizations that you kind of target?
Yeah, so the goal of the Dirty Dozen list is really to help people learn about mainstream companies that are facilitating exploitation and also give them a chance to take action, contacting the companies, demanding change. And so as we analyze who to put on there, we're not calling for boycotts necessarily. I still use Amazon myself.
Sure.
But we're looking for these mainstream companies that people would be surprised to realize the ways that they are facilitating. A host of issues are covered in this, anything from childhood exposure to pornography, to sex trafficking, to deep fake abuse, and so many other topics. But that's a lot of what we're analyzing is those names that that you wouldn't realize, and companies that we think could make a change if they decided to.
Okay. So tell me about how do you what kind of successes have you had in these kinds of campaigns, right? So you do this every year. You put out a Dirty Dozen list, and you've been doing it for a while now. So what kind of successes have you had?
Thankfully, incredible success. Every year we have policy changes because of this list. So we've had improvements made by Google, Netflix, Hilton Worldwide, TikTok, Instagram, Walmart. So many companies have listened to it. Mm-hmm. And so it really makes a huge difference. People go to the website and they take the action. These are companies, they respond to consumer demand a lot of the time. So this is a way to kind of lobby the private sector to have a higher standard.
So what kind of things are you seeing in these companies that that fall under this category of sexual exploitation? So somebody knows how would that company be involved in sexual exploitation?
Yeah, so they're disturbing topics and themes, but Amazon we talked about earlier, they are selling childlike sex dolls. So that's child sexual abuse dolls, completely unacceptable for that to be on their platform and very disturbing. They're wearing backpacks. They're positioned next to teddy bears. That's one example. Another example is a host of, social media platforms are on the list this year, like TikTok and Snapchat. And those are places where we see the sharing of child sexual abuse videos. We also see teenagers being targeted for sextortion when they're kind of blackmailed into sending explicit material or sometimes money. We're seeing live streams being used for sex trafficking as well. So it kind of runs the gamut. Android is a phone that's on there,
right,
because they don't have default safety features for kids.
Oh.
The Apple phone, there's still a lot that they need to fix. But if
Mhm.
you set up a phone on Apple and you say that it's for a child, there are at least a couple of default safety mechanisms that turn on.
Okay.
And Android should at minimum be meeting what Apple's doing for default safety for kids.
Okay.
So we cover a lot on the list.
So, yeah, I mean, this is amazing. So, in your experience, because you've been involved with fighting against this for a while now, is it getting better or is it getting worse? I mean, is technology taking us down a darker path in the area of sexual exploitation? How do you view this overall right now?
Yeah, it is a tough time right now. I do think it's getting worse, unfortunately, just the scale of harm. I was talking to a friend earlier. If someone approaches your child on a playground, you would remove your child from that situation. You have eyes on it. But
Right.
when your children are online, you might not realize, there's so many more opportunities for predators to contact kids. So the scale of the problem really is continuing to rise. And that also leads into some of our public policy efforts as we're trying to the Senate has introduced a bill called Sunset Section 230, which would make it so that these online platforms can be held liable in court when they are knowingly facilitating exploitation.
And obviously, the big lawsuit against Meta, it might not be considered sexual exploitation. I don't know. That would be your area. But this whole idea that addicting kids to this stuff is a whole part of it too, right?
It definitely is. And, there were two cases that came down against Meta. One was California, which was primarily on addiction. But the New Mexico case was about sexual exploitation. And in the course of that effort, they found all of these internal documents at Meta that found that they knew that there were up to even 500 kids a day being sexually exploited on their platforms based on their own internal research. So absolutely, just these companies unfortunately often know that they have design issues that are making it easier for kids to be targeted and harmed online. But right now, their incentive is just to make the money.
Wow. So like Meta knew. They actually had documents where they knew up to 500 kids a day were being affected through sexual exploitation on their platform.
500,000.
Oh, 500,000. Even that's worse.
Yeah.
I thought 500 was bad. I can't imagine 500,000. So they just bury these things and kind of say, well, that's okay because we're about the dollar? Is that kind of what you're seeing?
That's what I have been seeing. And there have even been whistleblowers from Meta who've spoken about that they feel like Meta spends more money trying to rehab their image and prevent regulation than fixing these problems for safety. So that's why Mark Zuckerberg is named on the list.
Yeah. So just one quick line, Haley, what can we do? What's the best thing for us to do right now?
Go to dirtydozenlist.org to take action and learn more.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for being with us, Haley, and have a great weekend ahead. And thanks for all you do for our kids.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.